Rhino Room, please make some noise with Stuff and Nonsense, Justin Hamilton!
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're filming this just after New Year's Eve. I don't know about you, I make New Year's Eve resolutions now and again, and my New Year's resolution this year was to be more tolerant. Now, when people say they're going to be more tolerant, they're usually talking about minorities and gays. I don't need to be tolerant about minorities and gays because I'm already fine with minorities and gays. I went to Croydon Primary School and I was surrounded by Greeks, Italians, Albanians, Vietnamese, Aboriginal kids. Back then it was Yugoslavia. We were all friends. The only divide at Croydon Primary School, this is true, was you either had a Ford jacket or a Holden jacket. That was it. How Adelaide is that? That was it. Ford or Holden. What did I wear? Mazda. Always contrarian, right? Always. Can't help myself. Just comes naturally. Anyway, and also I've been gay friendly my whole life. Like I've been surrounded by gays, even when I didn't know I was surrounded by gays. I was raised by a single mum, and probably one of my mum's best friends. I just thought he was a cool guy. I didn't know he was gay, and it didn't matter. Like he was good looking, he was smart, he was into Morrissey, he wore leather pants, he rode a moped, all of his male friends were really hot, and he was a hairdresser. But I didn't know. I had no idea. I had no idea, right? I had once when this wasn't meant to be the star of the show, but anyway, when I was about 9 years old, Mum and I went out, and those guys were there, and Mum said to me, "Hey, would you like some dessert?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I might get a banana split." And one of them turned around and said, "Oh, I love bananas." I went, "Yeah, I love bananas too." And then his friend said, you should get cream on the banana. I said, "I will get cream on the banana." And then he was like, "Oh yeah, you should put nuts on the cream." I said, "I will put nuts on the cream on the banana." And he was like, "Oh, you should get some strawberry syrup so when you dig into it, it spurts everywhere." "I will get the strawberry sauce that spits everywhere." I had no idea, right? And it wasn't until, this is true, I was about 26. I can remember this very specifically. I was walking down Smith Street in Fitzroy, and that moment popped into my head, and I was like, those fucking gays, right? I had no idea, right? So, anyway, I genuinely, this was not in the... Anyway, so when I first moved out of home and I was living away, I once went home to have dinner with Mum, and we were sitting there, and out of nowhere, Mum says, "Hey, do you want to watch a video?" And I was like, "Well, sure, no worries." So Mum goes and puts on this video and presses play, and she's just staring at me, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Anyway, this is what comes up on the TV, right? Suddenly, on the TV, there are two naked men on all fours next to a jacuzzi, and in the jacuzzi is another naked man with these hoses, right? And he sticks them up each man's bum, and he pumps water into their asses, and then he pulls the hoses out, and then these men shoot water out of their asses for 3 to 4 feet, right? And I'm going, what the fuck is going on, right? So it turned out Mum's mate was going overseas, and he put all of his stuff in... Anyway, he didn't want it at his parents' house, and he didn't want his parents to find his gay porn, and he said to Mum, "Oh, can you look after it?" And she went, "Sure." And then she was like, "I wonder how full on it can be." And then she looked at it, and then her first thought was, "Oh, you know what I need? I need to fuck up my son," right? So I go home that night, and I used to share a place with a 6'10" basketballer called Brett. And I go home, and I'm like, "Hey man, how's it going?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm pretty good." And I say, "What have you been up to?" He says, "Oh yeah, it's been a full-on day." And he said, "What have you been up to?" I said, "I just went over Mum's house, and I've got to tell you, I just saw," and I didn't even get to finish a sentence. He just turned around and said, "If you're going to talk about that gay porn, I don't want to fucking talk about it." So this is true. This is what happened. The 36ers were training, right? And there was a break in between, but it wasn't long enough to go anywhere. And where they trained was not far from my mum's house. And he thought, "Oh, I'll go and see Mama Hammo." And he's gone over there, and my mum's gone, "Do you want to watch a video?" Put that on. So then It gets better. He then goes back to training and they're all stretching, getting ready to train. And then a couple of the guys are talking about how they'd met these surfers who claimed that when they'd been out surfing all day, if they got heaps of water in them, they'd be able to shoot it out of their asses. And all these, this is true, and all these players are going, that's bullshit. And Brett's gone and put his hand down because it's very hard to explain, I know that's a fact, because I've been watching some gay porn with my flatmate's mum. So good.
Before we go on any further, just because we're filming, I'll interrupt and tell you your bottom button is undone. Speaking of gay porn, get up those likes for the social media.
Fucking hell, I thought you were smiling too much, Fozzie. A bit fucking hot, right? You're going to reach up and do it? I would have accepted it too. We'll keep all of this. I'm not editing shit. I'm keeping all of this. This is great. I hate it when you watch a comedy show. It's too smooth. I want this to stay in. And I want everyone who was watching it sitting there going, oh, this is hot, to fucking eyes up here, eyes up here. I'm not into porn. Like, the fact this is not part of the show. I'm not into porn. I've just never been into it. Recently, I've been getting into asexual porn, and it's great. I don't know if you've ever watched it. It's hot shit, right? This is the last asexual porn I watched was there's these three beautiful girls wearing bikinis, and they're watching TV, and they go, oh, I want a pizza. So they order a pizza, and then this hot guy comes over, and he's hot, and he's built, you know, he's jacked. He comes in, and he says, hey, here's the pizza, and they go, oh, that's great. And he says, what are you watching on TV? And they say, oh, we're watching The West Wing. He's like, oh, yeah, is this the first time you've watched The West Wing? No, yeah, this is the first time. I've watched it heaps, right? What are you up to? Oh, I'm up to season 6. And I thought, oh, how interesting is it that Jimmy Smits is like a stand-in for Obama? And they're like, what? It's like, yes, this first came out when Obama was rising through the ranks, and Jimmy Smits is a stand-in for that. They're like, are you serious? Yeah, go back, watch a couple of episodes, get right into it. And it's like, and then one of the girls says, what do you think about Obama? And he says, oh, I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about Obama. In some ways, I feel like he let us down because he kind of campaign on a platform of hope, and then he just kind of turned out to be another politician, and you can't blame him directly, but it feels like he helped create a situation where Trump could get in. They're like, yeah, you know what? We agree. We were discussing this earlier, and we feel exactly the same way. So yeah, I reckon there's more people like that than we realise. And they go, yeah. And they go, okay, well, hey, I've got other pizzas to deliver. They say, hey, thanks, really nice to meet you. And he goes, yep. And he walks out, and I'm like, oh, fuck, that's hot, isn't it? Woo! Woo! That's some hot shit! I gotta be honest, I don't even masturbate anymore. I do it once a month for medicinal purposes, that's it. It's like I'm in there, what are you doing in there? Try not to get prostate cancer, honey. I don't know who I'm talking to, I live alone, right? Anyway. So, fuck, the show. Oh, yes, so, I made a New Year's resolution to be more tolerant, and I'm going to be more tolerant of fuckheads. That's what I'm going to be more tolerant of, right? Don't bite. Just don't bite on fuckheads. Just be more tolerant. That's what I'm going to be, right? So a few days later, I go out for dinner with some friends. All their teenage kids are going off to the movies, and it's just going to be the grown-ups. And I'm sitting down one end, and then a couple come and sit with us that I don't know that well and I haven't seen for a long time, right? All my friends are kind of down that end. And as soon as they sit down, it's a wife and husband, and the wife says to me, oh, how grey are you? And it's like, yeah, like I'm 62, like I'm meant to be grey, do you know what I mean? It's like I started going grey when I was 15, do you know what I mean? Like I remember looking in the mirror and going, what the fuck is that? And I plucked it, and this whole side of my head went grey, right? Well, I like that I got old enough to have grey hair, because I had a lot of fun in my 20s and 30s. Do you know what I mean? Like I did a lot of shit, so I'm grateful to be here, right? So anyway, so I ignore that. And then the woman leans over to me, and with the back of her hand, pats me on the tummy and goes, oh, and you put on some weight as well. And she says this to my human face, right? And you know, I'm obviously getting a bit thicker there. I'm busting buttons open, right? You know. But that's what happens when you get into your 60s. You just kind of get thicker, do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what this is? This is happiness. This is happiness, do you know what I mean? This is a packet of Doritos that I've eaten for every episode of Peaky Blinders that I've watched. I can't not eat Doritos. Like I get stressed when I'm watching it, so I have to eat Doritos to be able to calm myself down. You know what this is? This is me with my best friend in Sydney having a bottle of wine, and then we go, oh, shall we have another bottle? Yes. Why? Because we're grown-ups and we can afford it, so we have a second bottle of wine. That's what that is. It's happiness. This is me waking up on the weekend and thinking, I should go for a run, but it's a bit cold outside and my cooler's warm, and when I turn my pillow over, it's a bit cool on my face. Guess where I'm not going? A fucking run, right? It's happiness, right? I made a decision a long time ago to either have abs or be interesting. Do you know what I mean? Because don't get me wrong, abs are impressive. Abs are really impressive, right? But anyone with abs is as boring as dog shit. They're so fucking boring. It's like, oh, what have you been up to? Oh, you know, counting my steps, feeling the burn, drinking protein shakes, so when I fart, I kill a small elephant. Like, who gives a fuck, right? So anyway, so I'm trying to ignore them, and then the husband says to me, what's going on with your glasses? Are you trying to look Sydney? I'm like, nah, I'm just trying to look. And then he says, can I wear them? I said, no, you can't fucking wear my glasses. I need these to be able to see people like you at a distance so I can fuck off before you get too close to have a conversation with me. This is a disability. Do you know what I mean? This is a disability. You don't go up to someone with a hearing aid and let me check that out. Whoa! You don't go up to someone with calipers and put them on and go, oh, fuck, how do you get through security? You don't go up to someone in a wheelchair, tip them out of the wheelchair, go into the wheelchair, go up the stairs and go, fuck, you're crippled. Anyway, I don't say any of this, right? And I don't say any of this because I made a decision to be more tolerant. But also, like, I'll be honest with you, I can be cruel. Like, I can be really nasty. I've got that fucking comedian brain. Sometimes people think I'm soft because I'm not saying shit. But the shit's going on in my head. Because when this woman started talking to me about her weight, I'm looking at her husband. Her husband's fucking fat. Like, properly obese. Do you know what I mean? I could have looked at him and gone, oh, wow, you're in a polyamorous relationship. Oh, my bad, there's only one of you. Like, you know... Do you know what I mean? I could have said to her, oh, it must be great dating him because if you buy chips, you don't have to get gravy because that's obviously what he sweats. Like, I could have said all of that. I could have said to him, oh, it looks like someone's been doing the Adelaide Pifecta 3 times a week. Like, do you know what I mean? For the people watching this on TV elsewhere and people from interstate, the Adelaide Pifecta, there's 3 24-hour bakeries in Adelaide. There they are. And the Pifecta is you do all 3 in one night. And I have done it. And it is there. Anyway, so it's shit, right? So I just don't talk to them. I just try to ignore them, right? And the dinner finishes and we go outside and we meet up with the kids, right? And all the teenage boys are there. And I'm like, what did you see? And they say, oh, we went and saw Nosferatu. And you know when adults get really fucking boring? And they're like, whoa, Nosferatu, what's that? Whoa, what's that movie? Like, I fucking hate it when adults get boring, when parents get boring. Their kids talk about something, and rather than saying, oh, what's that? I haven't heard about it, they can't cope, so they go, oh, that's boring, right? So I think, fuck it, I'm not going to talk to them. So I talk to them about Nosferatu, and I'm saying, have you seen the original? And they're like, no. Have you seen the remake by Klaus Kinski? And they're like, no. And then we're talking about stuff, and they're like, oh, you know a lot about movies. I said, I'm into movies. We're talking more about movies. And then they're suddenly like, hey, are you friends with our parents? I said, nah. I know those guys over there. And they're like, how do you know those guys? I said, I went to school with them. And they say, oh, how old are you? And I said, I'm 62. And they look at each other and they go, oh, wow, you're in good shape. And if someone had told me at the start of the year that a woman would make me feel bad about myself, but a teenage boy would make me feel better about myself, I would have thought, fuck, I'm going to jail. I need to point something out, I'm not 62. It's a new thing that I do. I've added 10 years to my age because I'm thirsty for compliments. Do you know what I mean? I've been trying it, it's really good. Because I say I'm 52, people go, oh. And then you say 62 and they go, wow. It also gets you out of shit as well. Like, when I'm bored in a conversation at 52, it's like, you're being rude. At 62, it's like, oh, bless, you know? So that's why I'm trying to do it. So I'm 62. You've got to protect yourself. That's the thing, you've got to protect yourself because people are arseholes and they will be arseholes to your human face. I was at Central Station in Sydney and I was minding my business. I had headphones on and there was a woman over here who kept looking at me and I just kind of did a quick, and I didn't know who she was, so I was just like, oh, okay, I'll just be standing here. And then she's come up and she's facing me and she's talking to me, but I've got noise-cancelling headphones. I can't hear a thing she's saying. So I go, what? And she says to me, can I ask you a question? And you know it's going to be bad. And I'm like, sure. And she says, do you use Botox? And I said, where? Where? And she says, in your forehead. I said, nah. I said, I just hate the beach and I like wearing a hat and I've got a receding hairline, so it's just showing off heaps more head. And she looked at me and went, nah, fuck it, you use Botox. And then she just walked over and stood there. And I'm looking at her going, you know I can hear you, right? This isn't social media, do you know what I mean? I'm used to getting fucking nasty comments on social media. I wore a nice jacket to my friend's wedding, and then the first comment there is, oh, you look like a faggot. And I'm reading that going, fuck, you're the one that bought it for me, mum. She's harsh. She's harsh. I got into a fight at the supermarket here in Adelaide on Rundle Mall. I went into the supermarket and as I'm going in, the woman stops me and goes, excuse me, can I talk to you for a second? I'm like, and she's like, hey, we're doing this thing where if you go in and you buy groceries and then you bring them out and hand them to us, we will pass them on to the poor. And isn't that a good thing? Isn't that a good thing to do for the poor? And I'm like, yeah, that is a good thing to do for the poor. I worry about the poor. I worry about anyone in a lower economic situation. But I'm not going to do that. She said, oh, you don't care about the poor. I said, I do care about the poor. But what you're asking me to do is spend my money to bring out your product to give to you so you can give to the poor so you can have a good PR moment. So fuck you, I'm not going to do that. If you really give a shit about the poor, you could do something else. She said, oh, you don't care about the poor. I said, I give money to the poor all the time. I help out with shit. You know what you could do? Lower your fucking prices. Lower your fucking prices. Why don't you try that? I go into Coles and fucking all of these places, Woolworths, and I spend over $100 on groceries. I'm a vegetarian. Like, what the fuck am I spending my money on? Once I look, I spent $9.90 on a cauliflower. $9.90. I didn't know whether to eat it or fuck it, right? So I did both. And it was delicious. Man, you know, you try to stay off social media, like, you know, because it's bad for you. There's heaps of arseholes out there. It's a bin fire. I deleted Twitter ages ago, before it was X. I deleted it. I can tell you the last time I was on Twitter, two things happened. One was I was having a conversation with people from all over the world about movies that we'd seen. And people who listen to my podcast, Big Squid, and it was a really nice conversation with all these people. And then suddenly someone wrote to me and said, hey, Hammo, have you seen the movie Apollo 13? And I replied, no, I haven't seen the first 12. I figure I won't understand what's going on. Good joke, right? I thought, take the rest of the day off, Hammo. Or the last 30 years. So I write that, right? And then some guy replies to me who wasn't part of the initial conversation. And this guy writes to me and goes, mate, there was only one of those movies made. Maybe you need to do some research before you write shit like this. And this guy follows me. Like, he follows me. And you know what it said in my bio? Comedian. It said comedian. It's quite clearly just a little joke. It's just a little joke that you read and you go, oh, and you feel good about yourself before you get back to how shit your life is. You don't even have to like the joke. I'm fine with you not liking the joke. You can read it and go, oh, it didn't quite work for me, but thanks for making the effort, Hammo. But what makes me angry is that he was somewhere in the world and he thought that I thought that there were 12 other fucking Apollo movies. And what I wanted to write back to him was... But I didn't know how to spell it. So I just got real passive-aggressive. I went, oh, yeah, thanks, man. You really helped me out. And he wrote back, yeah, I'm glad I could help. And I thought, fuck, he didn't even get that, right? That same day, there was trouble in the Middle East, as always, and someone had posted a picture of a woman holding up a sign, and underneath they'd written, oh, that Islamic writing is freaking me out. Oh, that Islamic writing is freaking me out. Now, I should have let it go. This is my fault, but I fucking couldn't help myself, right? I had to write to them and go, oh, it's not Islamic, it's Arabic. Like, they speak Arabic, they write Arabic, like, be xenophobic, but be correct about it, right? And then this person writes back to me, I'm entitled to my opinion. And it's like, yeah, but your opinion's fucking wrong, isn't it? It's wrong. It's like reading something in English and going, why is that written in Christian? It makes no sense. It's like reading something in Chinese and going, why is that written in menu? It makes no sense. I've been profiled. You think it's only minorities? I've been profiled. This is true, I was at the cinema waiting to see a movie, right? And I'm standing in the cinema, minding my own business, in the line, waiting to go in, and then I could feel two people staring at me. I looked up and it was two young girls, and I'm looking at them going, do I know their parents? Like, what the fuck is going on here, right? And then eventually one of the two girls come up and one of them speaks to me and she goes, excuse me, this is the line for Barbie, not Oppenheimer. That's it. They looked at me, the way I'm dressed, and they went, nah, that guy's not here for Barbie. Like, they looked at me, they profiled me. That's what happened, they profiled me. And it's like, as if I don't want to see Barbie and can't understand what Barbie's about. Like, as if I can't understand Barbie. Like, I understand that Barbie is about the patriarchy and how it infuses itself in society and trickles down and affects every part of our world. And what's great about the movie is that it sometimes points out that men don't have to be bad men to be taking part in the patriarchy. Do you know what I mean? Like, a little bit of genius casting is that Will Ferrell is the head of Mattel. He's not a bad guy, but he's a fucking idiot, right? And that's kind of showing you that fucking idiots can rise to the top, right? But it also shows you that it can infuse itself in women's society as well, because all the good-looking Barbies are rude to the insane Barbie, and then they have to learn a lesson and be nice to the weird Barbie, so they have to learn a lesson. So I understand it's about the patriarchy. Do you know what I mean? I'm a Greta Gerwig fan. I love her. I've loved her since Frances Ha. I think her version of Little Woman is fucking upper echelon. I love Little Women. I think it's so good. And by the way, I was raised by a single mum. I was raised by a single mum in the 70s, and my mum read the first volume of Germaine Greer's The Female Eunuch. And I reckon if these girls read that title, they'd think, fuck, she can't spell unique. So, you know, I'm across this, right? The problem is you can't say anything. You can't say anything because now in the world I'm a middle-aged white man. I'm the fucking bad guy. It doesn't matter about my experience in life. I just can't say that. So these girls are saying that to me and I just go... And then like a fucking loser, I got my phone out and pretended to take a phone call. So I'm just over here talking to fucking no one. I'm just like, oh yeah, anyway, how good is life, you know? And because I didn't want to get into an argument and I didn't want to feed what they were talking about. So I'm over here talking to myself like a dickhead for ages. And then I watched the line move and I watched the girls go into the cinema. And as soon as they went in, I quickly ran to the correct cinema and I saw Oppenheimer. Turns out they were correct. And I liked it very much. But this is the thing, it's incredible that it's taken us so long that, to realise and learn that if you put women front and centre, people will be into it. Like, it's crazy that it's taken us this long. Like 51% of the world's population are women. Of course women are going to get into it. Men are going to get into it as well. If you put women front and centre, we're all going to be into it. Barbie, the Matildas, the Mushroom Lady, we are going to be... Sorry, we shouldn't joke about that. We shouldn't joke about it because people died, so we shouldn't joke about that. And it's still in court, and you cannot, like, you can't say that she did it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that. Like, I'm not even going to allege it. I'm not saying in any, because this is being filmed, right? So I need to point out, I'm not saying that she did it. I'm not saying that. I'm just not saying that, because if I say it, I'll get in trouble. And, but I'm honestly not going to say it because I don't want to get in trouble. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Look, we're all thinking it. Look, some of us were raised at a time where we saw Lindy Chamberlain. Do you know what I mean? And poor Lindy Chamberlain said, a dingo took my baby. We went, oh, that's bullshit. And a fucking dingo took a baby, so we shouldn't say anything. Anyway, I want them to make a movie about the Mushroom Lady, and I want Meryl Streep to play the Mushroom Lady so I can hear her go, a fungi killed my family. That might be cut. But I think people don't worry enough about being bad people. Do you know what I mean? Like, I worry about that all the time. I try to be a good person, and then if I make a mistake, I try to make it better, but I worry about it all the time. Like, once I was having a text conversation with a friend of mine, and we were going backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. And then out of nowhere, she said, hey, do you remember that boy I've been sponsoring in Kenya? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's amazing. How is he? She said, oh, yeah, he's now 21 and he wants to be friends on Facebook. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's amazing. And are you going to accept? And she said, yeah, I am going to accept. And I said, oh, that's pretty cool. And I said, what does he look like? And she writes back, yeah, ... And I'm like, fuck, you need to send a photo, right? You need to send a photo. Anyway, I see the photo, and this guy has grown up to be hot. He is tall, he's got broad shoulders, he's got nice muscles, he wears good clothes, and in the photo, like, he's a DJ, and he's singing, and he's playing music, and he's got the headphones on. So I see this photo, and I write back, and I go, holy shit, this whole time, you've been sponsoring a boy from West Kenya, and you didn't realise you were sponsoring Kenya West, right? Good joke, right? So I send it off, right? So, and I'm waiting for a smiley emoji, waiting for a laugh, waiting, it's not coming. And this was at the old Rhino Room, and I thought, fuck, I have to go and do stand-up, did stand-up, went well, thanks for asking, got off stage, checked my phone, still no response, and then I'm trying to hang out with people and talking, I keep checking my phone, and she hasn't responded, and it's weird, because we've been texting backwards and forwards, and now I'm starting to freak out, because what I want to write to her is, hey, I wasn't being racist, like, it was a play on words, he's from West Kenya, and I said Kenya West, but you can't write that, because as soon as you write it, you know what you're being, racist, that's what you're being, so you have to hold your nerve, right, so I keep checking my phone, I don't hear from her, I go to bed, I'm up way too late, just checking my phone. I go to sleep. I wake up way too early. I check my phone again. I still haven't heard from her. It's a Sunday afternoon. I am freaking the fuck out. And I think, fuck, I've got to get my karma back on track. Do you know what I mean? So that day, I watched the movie Mississippi Burning. I listened to some reggae. I ate some dark chocolate. Still don't hear from her, right? Later that night, she writes to me and goes, Kenya West, how funny is that? I told him you called him Kenya West. He told his friends that you called him Kenya West. And now they're all calling him Kenya West. And I read that and I thought, fuck, you could have sent that 24 hours ago. I fucking hate reggae. You got to surround yourself with the true believers. You got to hang out with good people. You got to gravitate to good people, the people that believe in you, the people that make you feel good about yourself. One day I was at home, right? Good friend of mine gets in touch with me, and I was making this lunch actually, and it was a lunch I hadn't made before, and it was just a little bit messy, and I think I kind of fucked it up anyway. So my mate rings, and I just pick up the phone quickly, and I say, hey mate, I can't talk at the moment, I'm making lunch. And he says, go for it. And I went, fuck, all right. Sure. No worries. So I'm making lunch, and it's a mess. It's I'm trying to make these patties, and I've got food everywhere. So I kind of clean my hands, and I text him, and I say, hey mate, sorry, this is really messy, right? And it's taking me much longer than I expected. And he writes back, you're an animal. And I went, sure, okay, no worries. So then I finally make these little burgers, and I eat them, and it's great. And then I text him, and I say, mate, there's shit from arsehole to breakfast. I've got to clean this up. And he just writes back, whoa. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here, right? So anyway, I clean up and I call him and we're having a little chat and I said, yeah, sorry about that. I've never made that for lunch before. And he goes, whoa, what were you doing? I said, I was making lunch. And he says, oh my God, when you picked up the phone and you said you couldn't talk, I thought you said you were making love. And suddenly I'm going back through the text messages. Oh, this is a real mess, you know. I've got to clean up everything. And he's reading it going, fucking hell, go for it, Hammo. And what I love is that he thinks that we're such good friends that in the middle of sex, I'd take a fucking call. I love it. It's like, oh yeah, sorry, oh yeah, g'day mate, how's it going? I'm just in the middle of making love. Yeah, oh fuck, sorry mate. Hey mate, this is taking me longer than I expected. Yep, no worries, oh yeah, okay, catch you later. Mate, there's a mess here, I've got to fucking clean this up, mate. A big round of applause for Krieg Egan, who was that man. You gotta love shit. That's what you gotta do. You gotta love shit. You gotta commit to loving shit. That's what, and I reckon it's the most brave thing you can do in the current climate. It's just love shit unconditionally, right? I've been in love with the movie Interstellar since 2013. Now, those of you who are movie fans know that it didn't come out till 2014. Let me catch you up to speed. So in 2013, the teaser trailer came up, and I looked at that teaser trailer, and I went, I'm going to love that movie. And everyone said, oh, no, how can you know that you're going to love that movie? I said, because I've made a decision, and I'm going to love that movie. And they said, what happens if you see it, and it disappoints you? And I said, it's not going to disappoint me. I'm going to love it. And then each trailer kept coming out, and I'd watch each trailer, and I'd go, yep, I'm going to love that movie. And they said, how can you build this movie up? I said, because I've made a decision. I'm going to love it, and when I see it, I'm going to love it. And they said, yeah, but you might see it and it'll be shit. And I said, no, it won't. It's going to be fucking great. So anyway, it's about to come out and I get an invitation to see it at the Melbourne IMAX at a 9:30 screening, right? And I say yes to 2 tickets. And then by accident, I get another email inviting me to the 6:30 session for 2 tickets, and I say yes to that. And everyone says, well, what happens if you hate it the first time? I said, it's not going to happen. I've made a decision. I'm going to love that film. So I take my friend Adam, and I go and see it, and guess what? I fucking loved it. I fucking loved it more than I expected. I did. I sat there. I loved everything about it. I loved the story about a man who has to leave his family because he needs to save them in some way, even though it causes him pain from being far away from them. I love that they use science to make the story progress further into places that we least expect. I love Anne Hathaway. I don't give a shit. People don't like Anne Hathaway. I think Anne Hathaway's great, and I fucking love her in that. I love that you think that the hero is the man, but it's not. It's the daughter. The daughter is the smart one who saves the world. That's what I love about it. I love that what they do is they use your knowledge of actors against you. So when Michael Caine says, I'm asking you to trust me, you go, I will, because you're Michael Caine. Turns out you can't. You can't trust him. Then when they keep talking about Dr. Mann, they say, Dr. Mann's the best of us. Dr. Mann's the best of us. And I'm like, oh yeah, Dr. Mann is the best of us. Then it turns out it's Matt Damon. I go, Matt Damon is the best of us. No, he's not. He's an arsehole too. I fucking love that. I love that Matthew McConaughey at the start of the year was in True Detective. And in True Detective, he explains the science of Interstellar. He explains from a higher dimension that time is a flat circle. And that explains the Tesseract at the end of the movie. I love that it's in conversation with 2001. It's like an emotional response to it. But what I love the most about it is when I first went to see it, right towards the end, Cooper is trying to get in touch from this higher dimension with his daughter. And the way he's doing it is he's moving a second hand using gravity. And while I'm sitting there, this is a 7-story screen, and the watch is there in 7 stories, and the make of watch is a Hamilton watch. And I'm like, fuck, Nolan's sending me a message. He's trying to get in touch with his daughter. Nolan's telling me I should see this movie heaps of times. How many is too many times? How many is too many times at the cinema? 5, 6, 11. I saw it 11 times. And that's a lie. I've seen it 15 because I've seen it more than that. And that's just in Melbourne. I've seen it 3 times here, so it's 18 times. And I saw it 4 times in Sydney, so it's 22 times. And I saw it last year, so it's 23 times. I've seen it 23 times, and I fucking love it, right? And so the movie finished, and I turned around to Adam, and I said, what did you think? He said, that was great. And I said, I loved it. And I walked Adam out, and I got my friend Claire, and I took her hand, and I sat down, and I watched it again. And it's great. It was great that I'm crazy and went and saw it again because I saw something that no one else would have experienced because I'm sitting there, I'm the only person who knows that fucking Matt Damon's turning up, right? And I'm so excited. I'm sitting there going, this audience is going to lose their shit, right? And I'm sitting there and Matt Damon turns up and then the guy next to me very quietly, involuntarily goes, Matt Damon. I was rewarded. It's important to observe things, do you know what I mean? My belief, you got to have a belief system, do you know what I mean? And my belief system is, I'm not religious in any way, but my belief system is that if the universe is alive, we are its consciousness and we are here to observe the universe so that when we die, the universe can absorb us and know itself a little bit more. So that's my belief system. I don't know if it's true, so I try to observe things. So you got to have a belief system. At 62, you don't know how long you've got, right? So anyway, and I observe all sorts of things, and I take them in. I try not to wear my headphones. I try to watch things that go on around me. My three favourite things that I've ever observed, right? One was where I live in Sydney. I don't mean to brag. I've got a balcony, and I live on a pretty busy main street, right? And it was a Sunday morning, and I was having a little coffee, and there was a drunk guy walking across the road, right? And he's just fucking stumbling down the road. And then, you know, when they cross, they don't cross full. They just kind of fucking go like that. And I'm watching him going, fuck, I wonder what's going to happen here, right? And he keeps stumbling, and he bumps into a parked car. And the parked car alarm goes off and starts going, And this guy, without missing a beat, looks at it and goes, And that kept going, and then the car alarm stopped, and he stopped, and he walked off, and I think, fuck, good work, mate. I fucking love you. That's my response in my head now. Anyone who's annoying me in my head, I'm going, and it gets me through the situation, right? Once on my balcony, this is true, on my balcony, I was sitting there, I was having a conversation with a friend in New Zealand, and we decided I'd have a bottle of wine and he'd have a bottle of wine, so it was 3 o'clock in New Zealand, so I was sitting there at 12 o'clock during the day. There's nothing wrong with day drinking. I started at 11:30. Anyway, I was there at 11. Let's be honest, it was 10:30. So, and I saw this across the road, right? I saw a woman in activewear running along, holding a coffee, and she took the lid off, finished it off, put the lid down, and put it on a ledge, right? And she goes off. 20 minutes later, I see a guy on a Malvern dragster with a koala backpack and a motorcycle helmet, and he comes tearing down the street, and he stops, and he looks back, and he sees the coffee cup. So he takes the helmet off, puts the kickstand down, goes over, takes the lid off, swirls what's left of the coffee, drinks it, puts the lid back on, puts it on, and rides off, right? Then, about 20 minutes later, I see a really drunk man holding a ukulele in one hand and a massive sandwich in the other. And he walks along, and then he just kind of leans and takes a bite out of his sandwich, and then just slowly slips down and falls asleep on the ground. 5 minutes later, I see a crow the size of a beagle fly down, pick up the sandwich, and fuck off, right? Right? 20 minutes later, the cops turn up and they're trying to wake him up and they're kicking him and nothing's happening. So one of the cops goes back to the car and presses the siren, goes, woo! And the guy wakes up and I hear him go, my sandwich. And he sits up, hits the coffee cup, the lid comes off and it hits him and he starts going, ah! And the cop says, mate, it's empty. And he goes, oh, fuck, that was lucky. I saw that. Imagine if I hadn't seen that. Nobody would know that happens. And I get to share it with you. How good is life, right? The closest, so when I lived in Melbourne, I don't know why, but I'd promised my friends for years. I promised my friends that one day I'm going to walk down Brunswick Street and eat a block of hazelnut chocolate as if I owned the town. And it was an ongoing joke. I don't know where it came from, but it was an ongoing joke for about 10 years, right? And then suddenly I was going to move to Sydney, and it was a real quick turnaround, right? And then it was like a Saturday afternoon, and I was like, oh, fuck, I haven't done that yet. I better go and do it, right? So I go to the deli and I bought a big block of hazelnut chocolate and I took the top off and I just walked down Brunswick Street, fucking like, oh yeah, look at me, just eating my block of chocolate, right? And people were looking at me and, oh yeah, I fucking own this town, right? I look in at Mario's and give a thumbs up to the two Marios, keep eating the chocolate, cross Johnson Street, feeling good about myself. But as I'm walking along, coming towards me is a young woman with an uncut loaf of bread, and she's eating the loaf of bread, and I'm eating the chocolate, and we kind of walk past each other like this. And that's the closest I've come to being in love. I think about her once a week. Wonder where she is. I should finish up. You get to a point where you kind of outgrow some friends, and that's okay. Like, you know, like friendships don't always last. And that's not a bad thing. They were good here, and then they come to an end, and then it's time to move on, and there's nothing wrong with that. The worst thing you can do is maintain the friendship past its use-by date, right? And so last time I was in Melbourne, I was going to an old mate's house, a guy that I knew from Adelaide who'd moved to Melbourne, was living there, and it was a big housewarming party. And my friend used to be heaps of fun, like heaps of fun, right? Like when he lived here, I remember him calling me on a Thursday night, and he said, "Are you at home?" I said, "Yeah." And this is like 10 o'clock at night, he comes over, and he says, "I've got sumo suits." So we get into the car, it's true, and we go to Rundle Mall, and we get up in the sumo suits, and we put the mat down, and we wrestle, and when people see us, we do a little dance, and then we go back to wrestling, right? I remember this really drunk guy walking up and just watching us for about 5 minutes, and then after we'd finished one of our wrestling bouts, he went, "That was great." "You fat fuckers." And I was like, he didn't realise they were suits, right? My friend was fun. We used to go to parties at people's houses, and when we got bored and we were going to leave, we would steal shit. Now, I need to point out, it couldn't be worth money, couldn't be something worth money, and it couldn't have emotional value. It had to be so worthless, but really annoying when you discovered they didn't have it, right? So you'd be at parties, and then you'd be like, "Oh, it's time to go," and you'd give each other a nod, one to go this way, one to go that way, and then we'd meet out the front, and then we'd walk for ages, and we wouldn't reveal what we had. We'd just be walking for ages, and then suddenly one of us would go, "Potato cookbook," and I'd go, "Potato pillow, yes!" Fun, right? Even when my friend got angry, it was funny. We were driving down South Road once. He's a pretty placid guy. We were driving down South Road, and then some guy wasn't happy with how quickly he wasn't driving, some dickhead, and he's yelling abuse at my friend, and then he kind of gets in front of him, just being really full on. And my friend, who's usually pretty placid, starts to get really agitated, and the guy speeds off, but then we see him stop at the lights ahead, right? And my friend just fucking snaps, and he drives up and pulls up alongside him, leans down, pulls out a can of Glen 20, sprays it all over his hand, pulls out a lighter, runs over to the guy, driver's side, sets his hand on fire and flips him a failing bird, right? Phenomenal, right? Like, so aggressive, but so creative as well, right? Now he and his wife have matching aprons. They have matching aprons, and wait for it, his apron says his apron, and her apron says her apron. And I reckon they just must have some cracking moments when he accidentally puts on the wrong apron. Can you imagine how funny it is? He's there cooking, she walks out, "Hey honey," it's like... And it's really frustrating. So he's gotten older, and the last conversation we had before this housewarming, I said, "Hey, how's everything going?" He said, "Oh yeah, I'm really busy." I said, "Oh, what are you doing?" He said, "I'm trying to buy tiles." And I went, "You're trying to buy tiles?" He went, "Yeah. Did you know that there's lots of different types of beige tiles?" I said, "No." He said, "There is." Anyway, so So I go to this party, right? And there's heaps of people there that some I know, some I don't know, right? So I'm kind of looking around and I'm trying to think of, who can I talk to that'll be interesting? So I go over to this group, and this group over here are having this conversation. "Hey, how do you refer to us? Are we Melburnians or Melbourneites?" Oh, fuck this. All right, so I go over to this conversation, and they're like, yeah. Hey, we went to Bali, and I have to say, it is quite spiritual. I went, oh, fuck, let's get away from this. I go over here, and it's like, we've been getting back into music and we've been getting back into grunge. And I have to say, you know who was great? Krieg. I'm like, fucking hell, right? So I am not fitting in at all. So I find my mate, I say, hey, what's going on? And he said, we're just talking about tiles. So now, when I start doing this, it's not because I'm nervous and I don't know what to do. Why I'm doing this is because in quantum theory, there are billions and billions of different universes that are only separated by a mild vibration. And what I'm trying to do is change my inner vibration so I can vibrate through to a universe where I'm having a fucking interesting conversation. It has not worked, but I've lost weight. Anyway, so I'm having a ripper time, right? And then there's a couple there who have a son, and they always get the kid to tell me fucking jokes. So he's like 8 or 9, and they're all like, oh yeah, watch out, one day he's going to steal your job. One day he's going to steal your job, mate. Watch out, mate, watch out. And he's like, he's not, because he's just telling other people's jokes. Do you know what I mean? They're not even his jokes. Like, at his age, I was writing my own jokes. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I started off in song parody. That's where we always start off. But it was still my own joke. This is the song I came up with in grade 4. In our sing book, the song was, make my papa dance, dingle dangle, careful not to get it in a tangle, you can make it jump or twist, all you have to do is this, to make the papa dance, dingle dangle. And I changed it to, make my dick dance, dingle dangle, careful not to get it in a tangle, you can make it jump and twist. All you have to do is this. So make my dick dance, dingle dangle. Yes, good work, little Hammo, right? This kid's fucking just telling other people's jokes, so fuck that. Anyway, so then I get cornered, and there's like, everyone's there. I'm in the kitchen, and they're like, oh yeah, fucking Toby's gonna steal your job. And I'm like, oh yeah, all right. So, hey, Toby, come and tell Hammo a joke. I'm like, oh fuck. All right, so I'm standing there, and all the parents are there. And Toby, who's about 9, walks in and he looks at me and he says, okay, I was walking past the sperm bank the other day and immediately the parents are like, oh, no, don't tell that joke. And at that point, I'm like, You told me that this kid is one day going to steal my job. And you know what this kid has at this point? Exactly 100% of my attention. Continue. So this is a joke he told me. I'd never heard this joke. I had never heard this joke before in front of everyone. So I was walking past the sperm bank the other day and there was a lineup of men waiting to get into the sperm bank. And as I walked past the lineup of men, there was a woman in the lineup. And I said, excuse me, ma'am, do you realise this is the lineup for the sperm bank? And she looked at me and went, mm-hmm. I'd never heard that joke. I'd never heard that joke before. I lost my shit. I laughed so hard. And I looked at everyone and I said, fucking hell, this is great. And they said, oh no, that's a terrible joke. I said, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's a great joke. It was a good setup. He took me somewhere I wasn't expecting. He hit me with a punchline that fucking hit hard. I've got to be honest, he might steal my job, right? And then everyone gets angry with me. Like, they get angry because they want me to be impressed by the kid, and then I'm impressed by the kid, and they're like, about it, right? And then my mate, who's having the party, he takes me aside and said, mate, you got to grow up. I said, what? He said, you got to grow up. I said, what do you mean? He said, you can't be laughing at a joke. You can't be encouraging kids to tell that kind of joke. I said, it's a funny joke, and like, you know, it's naughty. Like, we forgot that comedy's meant to be naughty. It's just a little bit over the line. It's a funny joke. It's like, nah, mate, you've got to grow up. Like, I know that you don't have kids and that you just kind of have this rock star lifestyle where you go out on a Wednesday night, but the rest of us are in the real world and we're doing our best to make a living, and it's easy for you to come in here and disrupt everything, but mate, you need to fucking calm down and slow it, and you can't encourage that shit. And I was like, fuck you. Like, fuck you. Like, I don't even want to be at this party. You have become tedious over life. You can buy a house. You can be a grown-up. It doesn't mean you can't connect with the world. It doesn't mean you can't keep being interesting. It doesn't mean that you can't look at things and have new ideas and new thoughts. And you are the guys that keep telling me he's funny. And then you make me endure all this stuff, and then he says something funny, and then I'm in trouble for encouraging it. Like, I think you're the one out of line here, and I'm not a rock star. I'm a comedian. Like, I earn hundreds of dollars a year. Like, you are grossly overestimating my lifestyle. But Anyway, I really don't appreciate this, so maybe we don't need to be friends. Anyway, I didn't say any of that. I just stood there and I went, oh yeah, no worries. And then when I left his house, I stole a whole lot of shit. So when I left, I'd stolen a makeup brush, so when his wife tries to put on makeup, she won't be able to, suck shit. I stole a pack of sponges, so when they have a mess and they try to clean it up, they won't be able to clean it up because I have the sponges. And here's something that's nice and ironic. I went into the bathroom, I found a loose tile, I stole that, and I now have a tile I find fucking interesting. And if you think that's a little bit childish for a grown man to be carrying on like that, can you please tolerate me? Because let's be honest, I'm holding on, I'm 62. Thank you very much. I've been Justin Hamilton. Cheers.